All right, so every year kids anticipate dressing up for trick-or-treating for Halloween. And well, this year things may be very different due to the pandemic. And joining us to give us some safety tips for Halloween, we welcome St. Barnabas Hospital Director of Pediatric Infectious Diseases, Dr. Carine Hedari. Hello and welcome, doctor. Thank you for being with us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So I'm so happy that you're with us so that we can share with our viewers the importance of really taking a different approach this year for Halloween. And while I understand it isn't recommended that people trick or treat, if they do trick or treat, what are you recommending to use as safety precautions when trick or treating?
So I think primarily, keeping it outdoor is going to be the most important piece of advice. I think that we know now that, staying outdoors make the transmissibility 20 times less than when you're indoors. So keep it outdoor is the most important thing. So if you plan on going trick-or-treating, really keeping, distancing, physical distancing, so staying 6 feet apart, keeping it within your close circle of family and, preferably not friends. And if you are going to, knock on doors and things like that, it's important this year because we should avoid really knocking on, elderly people doors and things like that. I think that's going to be very important this year. Children should really, keep their mask on. So meaning that, the costume mask is not considered, effective. So please keep your masks on, maybe incorporate it in your costume somehow. Obviously do not put on, a mask and then the costume mask on top, because that, might increase the risk of suffocation and we don't want that. But, try to incorporate it in the costume, but keep your masks on.
Right, so basically it's probably best if your costume design incorporates the mask that you are mandated to wear at this particular stage of the pandemic, which is to cover your nose and your mouth. And so we just described the safety tips for trick-or-treaters. What about the people who are preparing the treats for the trick-or-treaters? I mean, there should be precautions taken in that department as well.
Right, so ideally having pre-packed sweets or treats, because a lot of the commercially available are packaged and things like that. So doing that, avoiding handing them, so putting them physically distant, so maybe in baskets. So if you're planning on having a basket in front of your house, probably leaving it 6 feet from the door and having them, take the treats from that basket rather than handing them in person. It's going to be very important.
So I think it's just important, and thank you for sharing all of this with us, doctor, because while I think it's probably recommended that people either explore virtual parties and or have an intimate Halloween this year. If you feel compelled to have to go out and trick or treat, let's say they do keep it outdoors, let's say they go visit stores or whatever it is that they're doing in a park possibly, and there's candies being exchanged. What would be the safety precautions for everyone to be mindful, aside from, of course, the social distancing? But really, I think what I'm asking is anything concerning the fact that one hand is being put on a package and then another hand is picking up that same package.
Absolutely, but I think the most important, transmissibility of COVID happens from person to person, air, via the air. So that is the most important thing to consider. So staying 6 feet apart, is the key factor. Now, contact exposure is also important, maybe less so, but still important. So again, avoiding these contacts. So putting baskets rather than handing them by hand is going to be the thing to do this year. And like you said, I think that, if we really have to do these things, do it outdoors in parks. So trunk-or-treating is also, poses the same risk on our children and on the parents. So I think that we should really avoid that and rather, pick as you said, like, you know, costume parties virtually on Zoom, or maybe, you know, a scavenger hunt within the family, you know, within the family home. I think that this is, you know, safer than doing trick-or-treating per se. But if you really have to, key message, do it outdoors.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for giving us your time. Are there any last words you want to share with our viewers?
No, just keep in mind that it seems like, you know, we're on an uptrend with the infection. So, you know, it's very important now with Halloween and probably also Thanksgiving that we keep socially distanced, keep it within the family, like the cellular family, like just our parents and the kids, keeping it within that circle, and mostly outdoors for everybody rather than indoor activities, just to curb that virus, because it seems like we're on an uptrend. It's going to get worse this winter.
Oh gosh, well, I hope not, but thank you for your advice. You're hearing it from the doctor, Dr. Carine Hedari. She's saying it's probably best to explore anything outdoors for this Halloween season. And if not, keep it intimate, keep it home, keep it on Zoom. And most importantly, make sure you wear your mask and sanitize your hands. All right, you guys, to make an appointment with a pediatrician, go to sbhny.org. And for more safety recommendation tips related to COVID-19, you can visit cdc.gov. We do have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll hear about a thriller shot during the pandemic. Don't go anywhere.